Welcome to our channel on investing and on how to build a successful and reliable investment portfolio. This week's video is actually not part of our How to Build Your Portfolio series, but is a hands-on tutorial on how to select, analyze, and buy an ETF once you've decided to invest into ETFs. For this purpose, we selected a popular ETF on the MSCI World Index, which is one of our top picks regarding the lower risk ETF category. If you're new to our channel, welcome. And if you like our content, please subscribe, like, and share with your friends and family so we can be picked up by the YouTube algorithm. Now, without further ado, let's expand our mind, mind our business, and dive in. The MSCI World Index is a market cap weighted index and follows 1,585 companies from 23 developed countries. This means that companies from emerging markets and frontier markets are excluded from this index. This index has been calculated since the year 1969, and the compound annual growth rate between 1970 and 2018 has been approximately 9.69%. If you want to know more about the compound annual growth rate, check out this website. Once you've decided that you want to invest into the MSCI World Index, now it's all about finding the right ETF that fits to your personal expectations. There are multiple ETFs issued that follow the MSCI World Index. Use comparison sites to get an overview and compare these different ETFs. In this video, I picked justetf.com to compare these different ETFs. So let's take a look. On the homepage of justetf.com, let's move to the tab ETF Screener and click on Search and Compare ETFs. On the next page, let's just type MSCI World into the search field so I can show you how many different ETFs there are on this index. In the result list of our search, we can find about 15 different ETFs on the MSCI World Index. Very interesting information is given at the front page, which is the fund size of the ETF and the total expense ratio in percentage per year. So these are the recurring annual fees that you have to pay for holding such an ETF. And of course, there is also the 1-year performance in percentage next to it. When looking at ETFs that are potential candidates for investing, I like to pick ETFs that have a fund size of more than $10 million or euros. That way, you make sure that there is sufficient investor interest on the market and that there are large trading volumes. This is in favor of liquidity, which means that once you want to buy or sell shares of this ETF, you can easily do so on the markets. Of course, picking an ETF with a low total expense ratio is also important, as those fees, once they increase, can really eat into your investment returns. Now I'm going to take a closer look at the iShares Core MSCI World ETF, which is one of the most popular ETFs on the MSCI World Index. It has a large fund. It has $26 billion in its fund and a total expense ratio of 0.20%. Let's click on this ETF and take a look at some characteristics. Again, we see the fund size of 26 billion euros. Then we see the replication method, which is physical with an optimized sampling, meaning that not all of these 1,585 companies are being followed in this ETF, but there is an optimized sample of this group. In a previous video, we explained to you the different replication methods and told you some more details about them. Another important characteristic of this ETF is its distribution policy here on the right. The distribution policy of this ETF is accumulating. This means that the dividends paid out by the companies listed in this ETF are reinvested into the ETF instead of being paid out to the shareholders. Further down, we can see the performance of this ETF over the last couple of years. And if you scroll further down, you can also see saving plans that offer this ETF in their program and how much the brokerage fee is. And even further down, you see important documents on this ETF. I would really encourage you to take a closer look at the KIID document or the fact sheet. In these documents, you can see a lot of key characteristics and information of this ETF in a very condensed form. So for example, here you can take a look at top holdings of this ETF. You see the complete 12-month performance period. Also, you see an annualized performance of this ETF compared to a benchmark. You can see a sector breakdown, a geographic breakdown, and some information about on which stock exchanges this ETF can be traded. Regarding the different stock exchanges that offer this ETF on their platform, you can go back to justetf.com, scroll all the way down to listings of iShares Core MSCI World ETF, and have a closer look at all the different stock exchanges. Here, also the tickers are mentioned under which you can find this ETF on the respective stock exchange, so you know where you can buy them actually. If you're also interested in the sustainability rating of this ETF, I would suggest looking at another comparison site which is called morningstar.com. And here, once you've selected your ETF, you can click on the tab Portfolio and scroll down to Sustainability Rating. Here you see different scores such as Sustainability Score, Historical Sustainability Score, Percent Rank. There's also an ESG breakdown in which different scores are given to the different categories: environmental, social, and governance. The lower the score, the lower the risk. There is also some information on carbon risk scores and fossil fuel involvement. So if you're interested in these facts, this information might also help you to decide whether or not to invest in this ETF. Before we move on to the buying process, I would also like to take a quick look at some chart analysis. Of course, with long-term investments into broadly diversified ETFs, the market timing, so when you buy the ETF, doesn't really matter for the investment returns in 15 to 20 years. But it's still nice to know how the market or the chart looks like at this moment and what you're buying into. So let's bring up tradingview.com and take a closer look at this ETF. Once you're on TradingView, type in the ticker or name of the ETF that you're looking for into the search bar. In this case, I'll type iShares Core MSCI World and we'll select the top results of the following list. This is the iShares Core MSCI World ETF offered on the Stuttgart Stock Exchange in Germany. In the following page, click on Full Featured Chart and a new window will be opened with a more detailed view of the chart. In this video, I just want to give you a rough idea on chart analysis and what to look for on such a chart. Don't worry, in the future we will post a much more detailed video on analysis techniques and which indicators or tools to use. So here's the chart of the iShares Core MSCI World ETF. On the right you see the vertical axis showing you the price. At the bottom there is the horizontal axis showing you the time. So this chart shows you the development of price over time. Then there are two indicators that I placed in here. One is the 200-day exponential moving average, which is basically the average closing price of the last 200 trading days, in which more weight is given to the more recent closing prices. At the bottom you see the MACD indicator, which is basically an indicator that shows you the momentum of positive or negative price development. In summary, this chart shows us that the price development of this ETF has been in a positive or upward channel for quite some time, that the current price is well above its 200-day average closing price, and that the price development went through a lot of positive momentum in the last few months based on the MACD indicator. Altogether, the circumstances for buying into this ETF at the current moment don't appear to be bad at all. For the purpose of this video, I will show you the buying process on the online trading platform that we currently use for our personal investments, which is the Giro. I just explicitly want to tell you beforehand that we are not being sponsored or paid to show you this video. Alright, let's get started. Once we are on the online trading platform, type in the ticker or name of the ETF into the search bar. In this case, again, iShares Core MSCI World. In this case, two options are shown to us. In option number 1, we see the iShares Core MSCI World ETF offered on the London Stock Exchange. Option number 2 is the same ETF offered on a Swiss exchange. In this case, I will go for the London Stock Exchange. Since I want to buy this ETF, I will press the button Buy, which opens an order form on the right. In this order form, there are a few options that we have to go through. The first option is about the order duration. Do we want this to be an order that is only valid today, the current trading day? Or do we want this order to be active until cancelled, or also called good till cancelled, GTC? I typically go for day order. The next option regards the price that we're going to pay for this ETF. We basically have two options, a limit order or a market order. Of course, putting in a market order is the easiest option, since you only have to put down how many shares you want to buy and that's it. You don't have to look at the price range or determine beforehand what your maximum or minimum price would be. Just be aware that when buying a volatile ETF or stock, a sudden price spike could happen just before you confirm the order, and you would then be confronted with buying the stock or ETF at a much higher price than anticipated. That is why I prefer using limit orders. With limit orders, you can define a limit or maximum price that you are willing to pay for one share of this ETF. In this case, I would put down $77. If you would like to know more about the specific order types, please check out this website on Investopedia. Next, I'll put down how many shares of this ETF I would like to buy. In this case, I'll put down 10. And then we can press the button Order. In the next window, we'll see an overview of the details of our order form. We're planning on buying 10 shares. The order type is a limit order. The order duration is a day order. The limit price per share is $77. The total amount would then amount to a maximum of $770. We would be buying at the London Stock Exchange, and the trading commission would amount to €4.32. Be aware that these fees do not contain the total exchange ratio, which is the annual recurring fee that you have to pay for holding this ETF. If you agree with all the details on the order form, you can go ahead and press Confirm. Now the order will actually be placed at the stock exchange. And if the share price is below the limit price that you previously defined in the order form, the order will go through and you will own your first shares of this ETF. After finalizing the buying process on your online trading platform, I would really suggest to you to put this information of the latest acquisition into a portfolio tracking software. This way, you can analyze and visualize the development of your investments in a very detailed manner. You can identify and cut losses where necessary, and you can easily recognize the need for rebalancing of your portfolio. Having all this information readily available on a centralized portfolio tracking software is especially useful once you start investing into different asset classes on different investment platforms. Stay tuned for our next video, which will come out next week, in which we will show you what kind of portfolio tracking software you can use and how to actually keep track of your portfolio. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope I could clarify some things on the selection, analysis, and buying process of an ETF. Do you have any comments or questions? Please leave them down below. If you liked our content, please subscribe and like and share with your friends and family. Thank you so much. See you next week.